Immediately after the '08 crisis, you'll remember, corporations were the bad guys. The old left used to say that corporate power was bad, and the thing we needed to do was redistribute money from rich people to help poor people. Agree or not, that was their theory. But the new modern woke left in the post-2008 world had a different theory. They said that the real problem wasn't poverty, it wasn't economic injustice, rather it was racial injustice and misogyny and bigotry. That presented a once-in-a-generation opportunity for Wall Street. They could no longer be the bad guys, but instead could actually become the good guys just by adopting these woke values. Applaud diversity and inclusion, put some women on boards, create an affinity group for analysts of color, you're good to go. Just look at what Goldman Sachs did last year when its CEO declared from, of course, the mountaintops of Davos that Goldman would not take a company public in the United States unless it met Goldman Sachs' standards for board diversity, where, of course, Goldman's the sole arbiter of who counts as diverse. The banks were thrilled to dance to this new woke tune. They were happy to lend both their money and their legitimacy and their credibility to this new woke movement, but they only need one thing in return, just one ask in return. Woke left, get the new left to leave Wall Street alone. And it worked. Wall Street got in bed with a bunch of woke millennials. Together, they birthed woke capitalism. And of course, they put Occupy Wall Street up for adoption. You don't even know what that is anymore. That's the Wall Street edition. As it turns out, there's a really similar backroom deal playing out in the other coast, in Silicon Valley as well. And here's the way it works over there. Woke activists demand that big tech censors political views that they don't like. And in return, the left agrees to leave big tech's monopoly power intact. And again, it is working masterfully for both sides. Conventional wisdom holds that technology companies should be free to regulate what content does and does not show up on their websites because they're private companies, and the First Amendment, conventionally, only protects against big government censorship. Fine. But that actually misses the essence of what's happening in the real world today. The liberal wing of Congress has actually co-opted Silicon Valley through the back door to do what government cannot directly accomplish under the Constitution. If you have any doubt about that, look at what they do in these congressional hearings. Democrats regularly threaten social media companies with regulatory reprisal if they fail to take down so-called hate speech or misinformation. Last year, the day before yet another Democratic congressional grilling, Facebook announces new restrictions on so-called hate speech. Big government is actually able to turn companies into pawns to engage in otherwise constitutionally prohibited censorship. And personally, I believe that state action under the mantle of private enterprise is still state action. I believe we have a statutory fix for Section 230. We need to fix Section 230, and it says that if you benefit from this kind of broad federal immunity, then these tech companies also have to be bound by the same standards as federal government. Plain and simple. Federal government cannot dispatch a private company to do what the federal government can't do directly. And when that comes to political censorship, it means abiding by the standards of the First Amendment after all, even if you are a tech company, so long as you benefit from Section 230 immunity.